Hello everyone, it is Walt here, giving you guys another video about self-help, self-improvement, that kind of fun jazz. So here we are today talking about attitude, a key component of so many things in life. Because in life, it's not really what happens to you that matters, it's how you deal with it. Some people deal with very, very difficult circumstances, but because they have the right attitude, they prosper in these circumstances, they grow stronger, they get better, they pull themselves up. Other people have really easy circumstances, they make a big deal out of them, and everything falls apart. And of course, everywhere in between. There are many people who are, in really tough times who have the wrong attitude, and many people in great times who have the right attitude. But the most prevailing thing overall is the fact that you can't control your reality. You can't simply bend it to your will in every way, okay? Now, if you somehow have the ability to manipulate the cosmic strings or something, manipulate, the vibrations of the universe and become a god that can do whatever you want, then come poof into my room and talk to me about that, because that sounds pretty cool. In the meantime, there are some things that are within our normal human abilities of control and things that are not. So really, a lot of it is understanding that we don't you have to have the right attitude really to understand that we don't have complete control under any circumstances, whether you're the poorest person in the world or the biggest billionaire. There are things you can control and things you can't control regardless of your level. Now, that's not to say that some people won't have more control. Power can be obtained, but one of the biggest components of power is your attitude, okay? The attitude you're projecting out to the world and how you feel inside as well. Now, a big thing that a lot of people kind of see is, first I want to go through this natural idea of what is attitude kind of to the world. First off, there's this take, I want to bring up the fact that narcissists tend to do semi-well in public in terms of campaigns, in terms of elections, in terms of like running for being, CEO of a company. A lot of times narcissists, if they play their cards right, project this sense of confidence of I'm the greatest, I can do this, okay? But on the inside, a narcissist feels the exact opposite. Every time they say I can do this, they feel such great shame and guilt. One of the biggest definers of narcissism is this kind of shame and guilt that these people feel all the time. Every time they say something bold, they feel more cowardly. And they're really affirming that in their subconscious mind. They're really just inflating themselves at the cost of deflating their inner self, okay? And that's just kind of a narcissistic personality disorder kind of characteristic. You can also find some of that in some of the other types of personality disorders. Paranoid personality disorder can hold some of the similar characteristics there, but this is not really a psychology lesson on personality disorders. This is more really what is the right attitude. And the wisest advice like I've ever come up with, and kind of I always go back to, once again comes from Futurama here. Believe what you will from a cartoon or not, no matter how good and hilarious it is. I always like that guy, the one from the episode Future Stock, which we have this 80s guy who they just refer to as that guy. And he brings up this attitude that there are both sheep and sharks, okay? Now, in one of my favorite books on trading called Trading for a Living, we have a fantastic saying by this guy. He's writing the book talking about how there are four types of people when it comes to traders, okay? There are bulls, there are bears, there are hog, there are sheep, okay? And that guy, the 80s guy there on Futurama, really kind of has distilled our differences from four animals down to two, okay? There being sheep and there are sharks. The idea here is sheep are creatures that you need to, you have a flock. You need a shepherd for your sheep. You need somebody to look after them, to make sure they don't get eaten by the wolves, things like that, okay? Your sheep are creatures that are not going to do well alone. They're fearful, and while they might have fun grazing on grass together, they're going to follow a herd mentality. They're going to run when something attacks them, and they're just not bold. They work together like that. It's not like they're geese or something. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have sharks. Sharks are the takes on your people who have set aside a lot of their emotional kind of involvement. They're not super tied to these specific outcomes. Sharks are very uncaring creatures. That is why they've been extremely successful to some degree. They're killing machines. They have been around for over 270 million years. So over half the time that eukaryotic life, multicellular life has existed, sharks have been around and killing it. And they continue to be for a reason, because first off, there's the lack of emotion. They're very calculating. They're very just straightforward in terms of their technical abilities. And on top of that, sharks are winners. They're creatures that don't look back because they don't have a neck, you could say. But really, I would say the biggest part about a shark is they go with a simple strategy and they just keep persisting. They're going to achieve it, okay? I would say this is your difference here between sharks and sheep. Now, how can we apply this to your attitude, to what you can do on like the day-to-day components, and then how do you project that to the world, okay, for your achievements? I would say that it's a few parts here. First off, you need to project an air of confidence, because image is a huge thing to a lot of people, okay? Now, you don't need to put your image above all else, but walk with confidence, talk with confidence, okay? When you put on the air of confidence, no matter how you're dressed, how you appear, no matter your ethos, okay? If you put on that pathos kind of component of, here I am, I'm confident, I can achieve this. When you put on that face, it can do a lot of good for you, even when you only put it on 1% of the time, okay? You can make a massive difference in your life when you put on that winner attitude. What is it like to not look back, okay? Because you don't want to look back at the past. This is important, okay? You don't need to always be turning your head. You need to be focused on the future and what you can achieve, okay? This is huge. And it's really to have that kind of razor-like focus, to know what you're going to do and persist in your strategies. One of the biggest reasons people fail is because they doubt themselves all the time. They're always looking back. They're always saying, oh no, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? When you look forward and you realize that you are a winner, you can project that sense of error into your confidence, into your attitude, and say, you know what? I can do this. I can achieve this. Now, being a shark does not mean, be like cold and calculating all the time, have no emotions. While you might initially interpret it that way, you don't have to, okay? Really, it's about being confident, okay? When you can put in some confidence, this will allow you to win. On your inner side, be loving, be generous to people. You can't say that sharks are necessarily, as a creature, they're not necessarily helping others. They're very self-interested in many cases, and they're just, swimming around, eating what they will, and hunting, various things like that, depending on your thousands and thousands of types of sharks. But check out Shark Week if you want to learn more about sharks, because super cool animals after all. Anywho, the point is that overall in your life, you want to be more like sharks than sheep, okay? And that's kind of the attitude you want to project. On your inner side, be loving, be caring, realize what your passions are. Drive forward with desire, drive forward with belief in yourself, okay? That is the biggest thing you can take away here. You really want desire and belief, just out of Think and Grow Rich. They call it desire and faith there, but with modern context, I would call it desire and belief. When you really project that forward, this is really what's going to allow you to achieve so many of your dreams. So don't be the sheep, be the shark, okay? Both in your personal life and in your professional life as much as possible, okay? Now, this isn't exactly a perfect model, because sharks, are obviously not really loving and caring like human beings are. Be as loving and as caring as you can, but model the shark in terms of going after what you want and getting what you want. Don't look back, focus on what you desire, believe that you can do it, and go after it. A shark never doubts themselves, so the less we can doubt ourselves, the better. Anyway, I hope this video on attitude has helped you at least a little bit here. I'm Walt. I'll see you guys next time with our next video, so stay tuned. I'll see you then.